expect some help with that, you're going to want to record to the cloud. Makes sense?
Yep.
But so it's 9 o'clock. We'll give Lana a couple more minutes. Just really want to be able to help people who are looking for help with some stuff. I did talk to, so that learner, we sent out a survey to students that asked them for information regarding their devices, their internet speeds at home, all that kind of stuff. I talked to Terry last night, and Terry is going to connect that to, he's going to pull like whatever data he can to give us that information and match it with our course list, so we can actually see what the people in our classes are going to be dealing with. So hopefully we'll have that sometime Monday or Tuesday. So morning, Lynette. She's still, hey, there we go. She's in the chat.
Yeah.
So how's it going, Larry? How you feeling? Larry, can you hear me? I don't think Larry can hear me right now. So Kathy, do you have a microphone? Or is it only Christina that have microphones? Next week is going to be fun. All the technology issues. Yes. So Lynette, you can hear me. Sweet. All right, Larry, can you hear me? Larry, do you even know you're in the Zoom chat? No offense, Larry. If we can't laugh, we'll cry. Kathy, what about you? Hey, Kathy. I can use my computer for FaceTime. I can hear you, but maybe I don't have a mic. What kind of computer do you have, Kathy? There you go, Christina. There we go. Yeah, your Mac should be yeah, that's wild.
Is it going back? Is this text going backwards? Is the camera flipping it?
No, it's normal. Yeah, it
Okay.
looks normal. Yep.
My it looks backwards on my little preview, so.
Yep. No, but it's normal. Larry, can you hear us? Kathy, maybe down over where the microphone is in the lower left corner. Look and see. It'll let you select a microphone. You'll want to probably choose same as system. And let me take a screenshot of this. I'm going to screenshot a whole bunch of stuff today. And I guess this is also saved in the recording, but.
Yep. Larry, can you hear us?
Because there you can also choose in the output as well. So sometimes what I've noticed, Christina, this might be something helpful for people, is sometimes if you plug in my Yeti microphone, it also wants to treat that like a speaker. So sometimes you have to go into this microphone setup here and switch that.
Yeah. My Yeti didn't do that, but I also have a Nano, so it might be the difference between a full-size one and the bitty one.
Gotcha. And Lana was here like 10 minutes ago and then she left, so I don't know if she's coming back or not. I can only imagine the chaos that the VPs are going through. So did you see though, GameStop is requiring themselves to stay open because they're considering themselves essential services for webcams and headsets, and it's a big hullabaloo because, yeah.
Yeah, no, they are not. Most people will not go to GameStop for webcam
Yes.
and such.
I thought it was because we have to be able to sell video games in this time of people doing nothing at home.
That's what I suspect. They see an opportunity for profit.
I started playing a game called GISD or something.
Not familiar.
I'll share. It's pretty freaking cool on the Switch. But anyway, Kathy, I'm interested, and Lynette, especially, nursing has always been, I think, a little bit ahead of the game when it comes to, new instructional methods. You guys, medical was one of the first places where concept or, Larry's trying to get in a second time. Like competency-based was, and now concept-based. I was really hoping to hear from you guys regarding any of the things that you're facing because of that. Like, obviously clinicals and labs are a huge thing for everybody. But what are your thoughts, if you can type any of that, or if your microphones work? So So what do you do in the active learn? And Lynette's asking about the active learning class, concerned about the active learning class and how to make that work. So what do you do in your face-to-face active learning class? Okay. So you lecture for a bit and then have a discussion. Hey, there might be Larry. Larry, can you hear us now?
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. So, okay, Lynette, let's the lecture and then discussion thing should be, I mean, do you think Zoom will work for that portion of it? The Zoom seems to be a pretty good tool. Yeah, are you familiar with the breakout room feature? Okay, let's let's then let's actually do that right now. Anuja just jumped in. We'll give it a second to for her to load up. But so in my classes, same exact thing. I do a little bit of ranting at the beginning, and then we do a discussion, and sometimes break out. So uh, after the discussion, small group discussions, I'm going to go ahead and click on the button for breakout rooms. It as the host of the meeting, and I can do another screenshot of this. Bear with me, I'm trying to hold my coffee and do this at the same time. There's a breakout room button down at the bottom where you would share your screen and all of your other features. I'm going to press that button right now, and it gives me the total number of participants in the chat, and then allows me to pick how many rooms I want. So I'm going to pick just 2 rooms. It'll divide us up between those 2 rooms, and I have the option to do it automatically or manually. So automatically, it'll just pick them for me. Manually allows me to place people in groups. So I'm going to go ahead and hit the button, create breakout rooms right now. Let me screenshot that as well. And then you will actually get an invitation to join that room. You can go hang out in that room. It'll be just like this. You can do all kinds of crazy stuff, whatever you want to do in your in your group session. And then I actually have a button that will call you back. You'll get a notification, hey, you got 60 seconds before this room closes. And then at that time, either you come back or it'll automatically make you come back. So let's go ahead and create the breakout rooms. And here's my option. I can see kind of what rooms you all are going to go into. I can actually physically move those around after the automatic portion of it. And then I hit open all rooms, and now your invitations are coming. So this could get interesting to see also as new people pop in here, how this happens. So everybody's getting your breakout room, and I can actually see where you're going. Hey,
Hi,
Larry.
can you
Hi.
hear me?
Hey, Kathy. How are you?
I figured it out.
Awesome. See? So, did you get an invitation to the breakout rooms?
It says the host has opened breakout rooms. Please wait to be assigned.
Ooh, so maybe it got screwed up because, oh, you're unassigned. Kathy, I'm going to throw you into breakout room 1.
Okay.
Um, and Larry, you should actually be able to join breakout room 1. You should get a notification there.
Yeah, I did.
Go ahead and join that group, and then I'll pop in. Did you click on the button to join it? Sweet.
All right.
Gang's all here?
I'm here.
Sweet. So Lynette, do you see how you might be able to use that for at least the lecture and discussion portion? Awesome. The other thing, I can't remember who I've shown, so I'm sorry if some of this is redundant, but down under share screen, uh, you would also be able to have that group either pull up a document on their screen and or even share like a whiteboard that people can draw on and brainstorm on. And this would work the exact same, excuse me, in the uh, breakout sessions. And then that group could save those whiteboard sessions if that was like some evidence that you wanted to collect of them doing things. So the worksheet portion, Lynette, how do the worksheets work? Is that individual activities? Yes, Lynette, it's down at the bottom of the screen, or the menu that when you may have to move your mouse down to the bottom of the screen. It's a menu that comes in and out, and there's a share screen icon. It's green with a green box with an arrow inside of it. Click on that, and then you get a bunch of options on whether you share your entire desktop, which you can tab through everything, or you can actually pick specific invitations or applications to show. And that's also where the whiteboard feature is at as well. Cool. So then are the worksheets that you talked about, are those individual or group worksheets, and how are those delivered? Are those typically physically printed handouts? Physical handouts, small group. Christina, you may have to help here.
Yep. So depending, is every group getting the same handout? Okay. So that makes it a little easier. You're not having to do 5 different ones. If we can, do you have a digital copy of it, like a Word document? Perfect. Either post that in Sakai or mail that out to everyone.
And is that something that then you collect for a grade, or is that just something that they're doing just to kind of help them get somewhere? Would you discuss after it's completed? Okay. So then in the breakout sessions, is that they would just basically go through the worksheet? Okay, because
Then
so
when you call them back to the main session, be able to go over it, discuss every group's answer, and go from there.
yeah, because here you go. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. And this is, let's see here. Here's a document. Maybe it's a Google Doc or a, a Word doc, which you can pull up in here. If we were to use the annotation feature here, wherever I can find that again. Sorry, my screen gets a little crazy. So for the host, my annotation button is down here at the bottom, and I can draw and even type on the screen, right? Okay, this makes sense. For you, the participants, that is in the drop down next to where you have the green bar and the ID for the meeting, and it says view options. Your participants then, and that drop down can actually click on annotate, and they'll have the same features. So you could potentially have the group go through and work on the worksheet like this, and then take a screenshot and submit that. And Christina, anything you think?
That would probably work. Easiest screenshot of the annotations and notes on the screen on the worksheet, unless it's a editable Word document that someone can actually in the group can actually be typing up and submit on behalf of the group.
Yeah, that too. One person actually like pulls up the document and actually types in the notes for everybody, a note taker of the group. That's a good idea.
That might be less technically demanding for them, Lynette.
Yeah.
Just have one person pull up the Word document and type on behalf of the group and then submit that on behalf of their team.
Yeah, I mean, I think though, in all honesty though, some of this is going to be the new normal as part of their day to day, right? I mean, we're still we're even now, I know Cleveland Clinic is actually doing remote diagnoses or remote interactions with patients. I mean, being able to use this technology, I think, is actually going to be some part of our future, all of our futures. Yeah, like Cleveland is yeah. So I think though it'll be important for everybody. Like if you've got a large group of students, and I don't know, I mean, I'm thinking of a class of 12 or more. I would highly recommend trying to find somebody to help moderate, um, to deal with any of the technical issues or stuff like that, right? I mean, you're one person trying to deal with content. You're not an IT specialist. You're none of these other things, that we do have support systems in place for you. I know we're talking about repurposing some student workers during this time to help with some of this stuff. So reach out to, obviously, deans, IT, me. We've all got people who are able to help here with this. So you are not on an island. Yeah, 20, 30
Especially when you're
students.
sharing content, because when
Yeah.
you're doing the share your screen, the chat window is hidden and it's hard to keep an eye on both
Yeah.
when you're presenting. So having someone in there who will even just interrupt you every so often and say, okay, we got a question with this, here's the question, and you can pause and address that question.
Especially with 20 to,
Having someone with a microphone whose job is to keep an eye on the chat can help.
yeah, especially with 20 to 30 students. I mean, you
Mhm.
get, yeah, you guys, I mean, I would really, 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 if you can use, what's Taylor?
Oh, it's a clinical faculty member.
Oh, sweet. Sorry. I'm like, new
Taylor
software,
would be a
shit.
person, not an app.
You mean I got to learn another new software?
No.
Yeah.
I'm typing. I could talk. I forgot I could talk.
Yes. So I mean, nursing, are you guys getting any guidance from your accrediting bodies on how to deal with some of this stuff?
OBN is adamant that we are going to continue to meet their requirements. Our accrediting body is a lot more flexible.
Mm-hmm.
Our biggest challenge, from my perspective, is lab and clinical, and we are reviewing a lot of different packages that are out there to determine what might be the best one to try to address those aspects of the course. I think faculty in general probably just need to kind of think a little bit out of the box about how they might engage students online. But my biggest concern is our practical nursing students. Our RN students are required to have a computer, but we've never required a mic and a camera in the past. So I'm sure that's going to change.
Right.
Our practical nursing students are not required to have a computer. They just use it when they're here on campus. But my initial survey sounds as though we may have only one student who's really at a disadvantage. And we have reached out to IT.
Okay. Yeah, I know Robert's been buying computers, getting stuff set up. So, yeah. I don't even know how to deal with lab stuff. That's one of those things that's going to be crazy.
Yeah, well, we have some aspects that we've identified. The students could actually make a recording with their phone and then send it or upload it in to Sakai.
Right.
Clinical is a little more tricky. Right now, we've been focusing on our students who are to graduate at the end of the semester. And,
Yeah.
and most of those students have either completed or they have a few hours left, and clinical agencies have been very agreeable in terms of having students in their facilities to finish those hours.
Okay, cool.
But
I mean, that's, yeah.
Is a loss. And we may just have to have some intensive couple weeks whenever we can squeeze them in to get them up to snuff and be able to continue on in the fall.
I mean, how your nursing students now, and this is just out of general curiosity, how many hours do they do a week in the program?
It varies by level. I believe I'm just thinking in terms of clinical.
Mm-hmm.
The course that Lynette has, they're in clinical, I believe it's 6 hours. and then it increases after that to like 8. And our practicum students are doing usually about 12 to 16 per week.
So, so you may be able to, you know, I mean, kind of catch up with almost a boot camp type experience
Yes,
when
that's
we
what we're
come
thinking.
back. Is that what you think? Okay.
Yeah.
So if you need help with some of that boot camp development, if you're not getting guidance from anywhere else, I've done like multiple software development boot camps, like 40, 60-hour week type things.
Mm.
So I can give you some advice on what craziness will likely occur when trying to do
Okay.
that. So Lynette, I'm gonna does that help? Okay, cool. So Anuja, what are your questions? You've got 12 to 15 students in physics.
12 to 15, yeah.
I would just cancel the whole thing.
Oh, come on.
Just give them all A's. Just give them all A's. If they could, so what are your concerns, major concerns?
No, especially for the first week, since but I'm going to try over the weekend in hosting Zoom meeting. But since I am not used to it, at least if first week, if I can get some help for the first week. So next week.
Okay. Do you have Lucas Horniak in any of your classes?
Lucas, no.
Okay, because he's somewhat familiar with this. Let's do this. I would probably email Robert and myself and Christina. I mean, if you want in on this too, looking for a Zoom moderator for next week, and we'll probably work out a schedule of people, student workers, and people who can help. So, you know, I'm teaching. I don't have class when you have class. So potentially you could always invite me to moderate. Worst case scenario, I'm willing to do that.
Sure.
Also, if you guys are testing this weekend as a host and you need people to come participate, invite me. And if I can make it, I'll pop in and say hi and play the role of a student who can't make his microphone work.
Like me.
Yes, exactly. Kathy, that was all just a test, right? All just a test.
No, you know what? I knew that it had worked before with Facebook, so I thought it would be fine. But so I skipped the part where you're supposed to test your camera and your microphone. Yeah. So I logged out, redid that, and then now I'm here.
Here's the #1 rule. You could test this 1 minute before you're going to do the class, and it's going to be fine. And then as soon as you start class, it's not going to work.
That's right.
Just.
I refer to that as the digital gremlins.
Yes, exactly. So Anuja, what are you thinking then about some of the stuff that you're going to do in class? I mean, how are you feeling with that?
Because so I to be frank, starting off this week, I was not sure that I'll have so much flexibility with Zoom and I will be able to do so many things. Now that you have shown all these features, I'm becoming more and more greedy. And that's the reason. So what I do in my class is usually I give them some basic idea on physics, basically a few equations I throw them. And then I ask them to work on it based on a few problems. So I usually go with 8 problems. If I can solve all of them in the class, that's fine. Else 2 goes for assignment. Especially this is going to be first time for me and for the students on Zoom. I will have only 3 to 4 problems, and I want them to solve in the class, in the Zoom, and see how it goes. If it doesn't work out, then I'll change it for next meeting, but I just want to give it a try and see how it works.
Yeah, I think that this thing for all of us is just one big experiment. And if we treat it like that, and if we treat like failure as a learning opportunity, I mean, that's just what our freaking day-to-days are anyway, right? I mean, we play with things till it breaks and then we try it a different way. I think
I was going to say, I think you should be honest with students that this is a new way of teaching. You're very new at it and things may not go smoothly at first. And just give yourself a break and give the students a break, you know, lessen your requirements in terms of when deadlines might be until you kind of get in the groove.
Yeah, until you can build up what your new normal looks like.
The one place where I have seen faculty really struggle with things like this, uncharted territory, is when they pretend to be the know-it-all and are afraid to let students see them fail. That's not going to work in this situation. You're just going to have to be honest. You're going to have to like talk through problems. Like this is a way for us to help students see how we critically think and work through problems, which I think there's just as much value there as in our content. So yeah. And so with my background being, you know, obviously a face-to-face teacher, but also doing a boat ton of work, online remote type stuff. I mean, the new norm for education is probably going to be taking hopefully the best of face-to-face and the best of online and actually putting these things together with some best practices, because there are some really good things with online. Gets a bad rap simply because, in all honesty, for a long time, like when online started 20 years ago or whatever it was, hey, faculty member, here's a course shell, have fun, without any real guidance.
And it turned, a lot of it ended up being pretty much an online equivalent of the 1980s correspondence course.
Yes, if you could draw a turtle.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you know, competency, taking some elements of competency-based education, I think would be is important here. Like not having hard deadlines for things. Obviously, we have a hard deadline at the end of the semester, but letting students, give them everything for the next 6 weeks, 7 weeks. I'm going to say 6 because you're going to have a lost week of troubleshooting and getting people acclimated. I mean, that's just one of the realities. Unless you get out ahead of it now and start contacting students and making sure that they're good with the technology. But, you know, everybody's lives are changing by the hour. Give the student the opportunity to work on everything this week and get it done. And if they can, sweet. If not,
Or if not get it done, at least start thinking about it so
yes.
it's not coming at them out of the blue. If they can at least start thinking about it, then it's not going to be as much of a stress point.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly, Lynette. I mean, this is responding to, you know, crisis, things popping up in the middle of the day, lunch break, right? You're in the middle of lunch, you just got to stop eating your sandwich and make something happen. The other thing too, for people who might, you know, Anuja, with you, you know, some of the physics and calculation type stuff is similar to programming, and where students' answers could be the exact same, in all honesty. So concerns with cheating. One of the things that I've started to do in my web page development class is to do code reviews, which would be one-on-one meetings, either face-to-face or through Zoom now, where they're going to just walk through the problem and explain it to me. That's how I'm going to assess whether or not they've learned, not the actual physical product, but how well they can actually explain their process.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, more time consuming than auto-graded type stuff, but I mean, I think there's more value for all of us in that. Yeah, 100% for math. Like, here's your work, explain your work.
Yeah.
Yes. And I'm stealing that from Back to School. If anybody hasn't seen the Rodney Dangerfield movie Back to School, I encourage you to watch that this weekend. That was how they validated his learning at the end of his cheating exploits.
Yeah. It makes it so they can't cheat at that point. They have to be able to explain it coherently.
Yeah. And also, that's not just for, you know, the summative assessment. I think that's also useful as part of your formative assessments, because then you can see where their thinking is breaking down, or not breaking down, but it is deviating from what would be the correct path.
Where they're making their mental mistakes.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's so much easier if we correct, you know, if I'm traveling to California but automatically start just heading east, it's so much easier to solve that at the first rest stop than, you know, 5 hours down the road. So identifying where they need help earlier is better. And I think this is one of the only ways, more high touch, right? This is allowing us to be a little bit more high touch. We have to be more available than we were before. And I think that I think we're going to have better outcomes with our students who are able to fully participate in this type of environment, in all honesty. Yes. So Lynette, what I've done, if anybody wants to take a look here, I'm going to share my screen. I'll go to my desktop. So here is my calendar for next week. Everybody see my calendar okay?
Yes.
Okay. So I have all of my classes here are the dark green. And what I've done is I've actually converted those to Zoom meetings using the Zoom Launcher extension and invited students to these. So they'll get an email notification and it'll appear on their calendar. I have office hours, my traditional office hours that were set up, but I've also opened up additional office hours in the evening. And I've done those as appointment slots. So as an example, if I click to create a Google Calendar meeting, I actually have this option of appointment slots. Let's see, faculty happy hour, right? So as appointment slots, I can pick the range of time, and then I'm also able to pick the length of those meetings. So half-hour meeting, make it a Zoom meeting. And now, if I click on this on my calendar, I get this view here, all of the details of when I can actually, how to get into the room. But then you also now have this go to appointment page for this calendar. And then this is going to be really gross because it's got my calendar inside of it. But you see these slots here, these hoverable buttons. And I'd actually have to go to next week. Those office hours I just added, faculty happy hour, I can click on this. And now this becomes, and you share that link with the students. They click on this and now all they have to do is save, and they're automatically booked for office hours. Your calendar, it comes off of your calendar as a bookable time, but is in your calendar as a way to meet people.
That's what I used when I set up those conversion meetings this past week for faculty, if any of you clicked on that link in my calendar.
Yeah. And what's awesome with that is, you can go ahead and set this up. Oops, sorry, I got to get out of this. I have too many tabs open. I can come in here and instead of doing it every day, I can actually set this up to be repeatable and, pick which days and all that kind of good stuff. So it would be a repeatable meeting and ends at the end of the semester. If anybody wants individual help with that, Christine or I can do that for sure.
Absolutely.
That's how I'm handling office hours. I've added in more office hours because it's just what we have to do. I mean, we have to do what's best for the learner, and that's just how I feel. My job as faculty has changed a little bit. I'm probably going to spend less time grading and more time just making people feel like things are okay, in all honesty.
And
So
right
did
now,
that
I
help?
think that's what students need. They need that reassurance. They need someone to tell them this is going to be okay. They can still pass the class. They can we'll make this work.
And then there's also going to be some who are going to BS and use this as an excuse for just being lazy. I mean, that's just the world we live in.
Yeah.
I mean, all right. So Lynette feels better. That's good. Anuja, do you feel better? Okay. Anything else? I'm gonna need more coffee. It's gonna be a great day.
I watched your other video that was just focused on the calendar, and I'm starting to do those kinds of things with my calendar now.
Okay.
So I found that one very helpful.
I think with, what's going to be most beneficial for the students, and nursing, you probably have an easier time of this than the rest of us, is consistency. Like with all of your faculty, as much as possible, the way you're going to communicate with students and the protocols you're going to set up for doing all of your meetings and everything, just be as consistent as you can. That way students aren't hopping around trying to figure out different stuff.
Right. Now, will you send an email out when this recording is available so I can forward it to all of my faculty?
Yes, 100%. What I'll do with this, I'm going to take this and it will be audio, video, captions, blah, blah, blah. Sorry, not captions, the chat. I upload that to Google Drive, and then I'm going to share that folder with you.
Okay, great.
And then you can share, that'll be shareable with anybody with a northweststate.edu email address.
Okay, good.
That's also something, if you guys have people who are going to be submitting video content, Christina Sakai, you said is fairly limited. we may want to.
It's got a limited amount of space. And also too, we've got a server-wide cap on space, not a cap, but we pay for this much space.
Right.
Yeah.
If we start to go over that, Robert gets a little bigger bill next time.
So we may want to show students how to upload using Google Drive and sharing like this. So I've got some videos that I'm putting together about that as well.
Great.
And then I've been just dumping a boat ton of content out the past couple days or past week now. I'm organizing that this weekend, and I'll have resources available. And I literally plan on being available from 8 to 8 next week for anybody that's got a pop-up question. If you're in the middle of class and need me to pop in and say hi and help with something, I'm more than willing to do that. Oh, one other thing too, since LZ just showed up. One of the things that I'm recommending for all faculty, and Christina, maybe you can chime in on this too, use your full name as your name, because even if you're not going to show your video, they at least know who you are. Students, I'm not going to require them to put their full name up, but at least their first name, so I know who's talking and who I'm talking to and who's actually in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, LZ. Who's LZ? Larry Zachridge? What other LZs do we have?
Probably Larry Zuber's back.
Oh, Larry
Yeah, I'm back.
Zuvers. Oh, hey, Larry.
Sorry about that.
That's all good. That's all good. We have 2 LZs in the mix. That's crazy. So, Larry,
Yep.
what questions did you have? We've got a few more minutes here, and then the next session is going to probably be similar to this, but I'm going to record all of them, and they'll all be in the same folder shared, so you can access all of these. So,
In case someone has different questions.
yeah. Yep. So, Larry, what do you think?
I can see you, but the audio is very choppy.
Okay, what I would probably do then,
I went out and switched to Chrome and came back in, but now it's really choppy.
are you on a different device? Are you on your home computer instead of a
No.
So, Christina, I wonder if with the paid accounts that we have now for Zoom, if
Mhm.
we have the telephone feature turned on. We'll have to double check that.
We'll have to double check, but I've also heard the telephone feature, they're worried about becoming overloaded. So they are encouraging you to use the computer audio whenever possible.
Right. But I think that they took away the phone call in for the free version to
Mhm.
hopefully free up some of us. So Larry, we'll look into that if you can't hear me. We will look into the phone call-in option.
Mike,
And
I'm
Larry-
going to leave that to you. I don't actually, I did not get an invite to the pro account because I told IT I don't need.
Oh, okay. I'll look into that.
Since I'm
Lar-
going to be using Zoom for smaller meetings with faculty as they need it. I don't need
Larry,
to do a 3-hour long lecture.
right. Larry, you can, if you go and hover over the name of the person, I hope you can hear me. I'll take this screenshot here. You can actually stop the video transmission for other people. And what that would do is probably cut down on some of the bandwidth. So hover over upper, and this is good for everybody in your students. If you got students who are suffering from bandwidth issues, hover over the upper right corner of the video, and you can stop individual videos. Because we don't need to see everybody's face. No offense, you're all beautiful this morning, but once you
have 30 students though.
100%, and that's going to be some extra bandwidth. So let's go ahead and just and you actually, as the host, have the option to shut that stuff off as well. So once you introduce the class and it's your face, you can actually pop that on and off, and that should help us. So let's do this. Let's shut our cameras off, and let's see if that helps Larry at all.
All right.
Hey,
how about
Larry,
shut my camera off?
your camera's off. Your camera wasn't even on, Kathy.
Sorry.
Yeah.
We
So
never saw you.
Hi.
I wondered why it looked blank to me.
yeah. So Larry, is this any better?
Yeah, I did stop. I stopped the video and I can hear you
So the audio is clear without video?
so far.
Awesome. Yeah. So that's probably best practice. What we want to do for our students is they all know what each other looks like. They may have their hair up in rollers or smoking a cigarette, doing whatever they're doing. We don't want to see that nonsense. But I think for faculty, it's probably important to put your video on at least at the start to welcome everybody, introduce them, and then you could obviously always turn that off. There is another feature in Zoom. If you are concerned about people participating and being active, there is a feature that I haven't tested yet, but I'm going to, on whether or not students are focused on their browser or their computer is focused on the Zoom window versus other windows. So that may be something if you're concerned about people not paying attention. But at the end of the day, I think we solve that by just having conversations as part of our assessment. It's, if you want to spend the time that we're doing a live session on Facebook and doing other stuff, more power to you, but it's going to come to a head when I actually do. And that may be what we say at the beginning, like at the end of this, part of your assessment is going to be a oral essay or oral examination, whatever, and you just need to pay attention. You need to take notes. You need to manage your time and be responsible, because this is just the world we live in now. So is everybody cool? I need to take a break. I'm going to pop back into the same room at 10 o'clock. Different people, same questions, different questions, same people, whatever works for you guys. We're just here to help.
This has been extremely helpful.
Awesome. 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 Good to hear. Anybody else? Cool. I'm going to shut this down right now. It'll takes a while to convert. And then actually this is being recorded in the cloud. I'm going to see if I can share from the Zoom cloud. If not, I'll share from Google. Cool.
Great.
Awesome. Take care, everybody.
Bye.